Manchester City against Spurs. City just runaway leaders, 49 points after the midweek round of games. Spurs back on 31. The SBI to win on Saturday. Man City 57%. Spurs get a 20% chance to win. 23% is the draw. Let's bring in Ian Dark for this. Ian, Man City seem unstoppable at the moment. Is there any stopping them? And are Spurs potentially the team that could stop them?
Well, potentially, yeah. I mean, a couple of months ago when Spurs beat Liverpool, they were only 5 points behind Manchester City, and we were saying they're bang in this title race. Well, they're not anymore. They're 18 points adrift. They've lost at Manchester United. They've lost at Arsenal. They've lost at Leicester. They drew at home to West Bromwich Albion. They've had a couple of wins this last week to get back on track, but even if they beat Manchester City, they're still going to be 15 points adrift of them. Good team, and it's kind of like a Premier League's version of Star Wars, isn't it, if you like? It's going to be an entertaining game. But Manchester City, their speed, their movement, their fluency, goals all over the team, and Pochettino's record away from home against teams in the top six isn't good at all. I can only see Manchester City consecutive win number 16 in the league.
Would be quite a remarkable extension to the record. 16 wins and 1 draw. Stevie, the latest of them, that Swansea City win in midweek. Is there any chances at the weekend where that run comes to a halt?
I didn't realise Tottenham were that bad. I mean, I'm sitting listening to Ian reeling off all those, and I'm thinking, God, Tottenham are rubbish. But we know what Tottenham are capable of on the day. And that's why Manchester City have to be very careful. I'm sure they're not going to take them lightly, but they have to be careful that they take care of business. Because if there is a team that can turn up and give you problems, not just defensively, but from an attacking point, Spurs can do both. On their day, they clearly haven't done it enough this season so far, but I'll tell you what, I think this guy's probably got this a bit right.
Josh Sargent will be someone hoping to play a big part. Of course, he's going to be playing his club football in Germany with Werder Bremen. He'll be going there in 3 weeks' time. And he said recently to Brian Skiretta, MLS was definitely not an option for me at first. It would have been nice. Everyone speaks English and it's only 3 hours away. But I believe in life, you have to do what is hard for you in order to build yourself. Then he went on to compare, build yourself as a person. When you look at MLS, you don't see many young players getting minutes, but Weston and Christian are getting minutes in the Bundesliga. I don't know how you can refuse that. And he does bring up an interesting point, doesn't he? The number of teenagers playing in MLS is remarkably low. In fact, there were 2 this year who got regular minutes.
I would suggest that's more to do with the fact that they're not good enough. You know, Christian Pulisic, for example, is getting plenty of minutes because he's good. You know, I think Josh Sargent is doing the right thing by going somewhere where the quality is higher, where every day he's going to be training with better players. That's going to make him a better player. That's not to say that starting at MLS is the wrong option. I just think he's picking up the right option for the majority of players. You know, the better quality you train with every day is the best option.
But Tyler Adams, Jordi Mihailovic, they're the only 2 teenagers who appeared regularly in MLS. It is a problem, isn't it?
A problem in which terms? Are you asking me to go and force players into a position where they need to play simply because we're pushing the teenagers? Well, no, coaches have a responsibility. If a guy's not ready to play, I don't care who he is and what his accolades have been in the past. If he's not ready to play and I don't think he's going to help me win on the weekend, then he's not going to be out there in the weekend. It's not the responsibility of Major League Soccer coaches to make sure that the youngsters are developing. They have a responsibility to win on the weekend. Now, if that guy comes along and you're able to put him on the field, then so be it. but it's a byproduct of the player maturing, growing up, and actually showing you on the field that he can be productive for you
But
on the
it's
weekend.
still crazy,
For me-
isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I agree. For me, because of the unique nature or the unique structure of MLS and the playoff system, towards the back end of the season, there are a number of clubs with not a whole lot to play for who have teenagers on their books and don't play them. DC United is one that jumps to mind immediately. And they don't take that option. Now, all that being said...
Shaq, if they had good enough players that were teenagers, you put them out there, right? I mean,
all I'm saying is, if you're out of the playoff picture and you've got a budding talent in a teenager, back end of the season, you're not going to make the playoffs. Give him some minutes.
If you've got a budding talent, then you're going to have played them already. And let me tell you, if you're coaching a team that hasn't made the playoffs or isn't going to make the playoffs, you ain't going to stick a bunch of young guys in and get beat 5 or 6-0. Because guess what's going to happen? You're losing your job.
All I'm saying is, and you see this happen club level, international level. Friendlies, or the game is all but done. You put somebody in for the last 15 minutes, whatever it is. This happens, that's how you bring players through. But MLS doesn't, or teams seem reluctant to take that option. Now, again, all that being said, Josh Sargent does absolutely the right thing for him. Going abroad where he has to compete day in, day out is less about who's getting minutes and him being in the right environment. But at the same time, I still think that, yes, MLS, there are certain clubs that could have done a better job with bringing through some young talent.
Danny Williams, the US midfielder, has created quite a stir with his recent comments to the journalist Joe Prince Wright about the selection policy for the national team. Some people wanted to play the MLS guys a little more, but whatever. Bruce Arena emailed me and said, "You're in the picture. I haven't really seen you." And I thought that was a bit strange, because you must know your players, don't you? I think there are too many political things going on behind the scenes. Obviously, I spoke to the boys when I was in Portugal for the November friendly. Everyone has a different view. I heard from a few people they tried to market the MLS a bit more in the World Cup qualifying games and get a name for MLS. So, well, our Jeff Carlisle reached out to Bruce Arena and got this response from him on a text message. He said, "We took who we felt were the best players, regardless of where they played. The statements are completely false." Mr. Steve Nicol, let me let you loose. Does MLS marketing influence US soccer national team selection?
Not. Do you think for 1 second that Bruce Arena is going to pick MLS players to try and market MLS and put it in front of actually winning a game? And Wayne, don't talk rubbish. You've got a player who's been talking to some of the other guys in a squad, and they stick 2 and 2 together and come up with 5. I mean, it's just complete nonsense. It's classic players talking garbage who know nothing about what's going on.
Ian, interested in your take. Anything to this at all? Just sour grapes from Williams that he wasn't involved?
Well, maybe, and possibly he does have a point about not being involved as well, because here's a defensive midfield player, and they did need more in those positions, really, during the World Cup qualifying. I think he should have had a look in, but that's not really the issue. He's saying that there's some kind of agenda here, a them and us attitude, politics. Well, he had his chances, Danny. He was a bit hit and miss, really, in a US shirt, but I think he's got better. He's playing now in the Premier League for Huddersfield. He was in the team that beat Manchester United. Maybe he should have had a look in, but was it a biased selection? No, I don't think so. The team, frankly, in the end, just wasn't good enough.
And Ian, on that point, given that he has been playing in the Premier League for Huddersfield, Bruce Arena didn't really have an excuse for not knowing how he was playing, did he?
Well, that's an odd one if it's true, and I'm sure Bruce Arena would be the first to deny that he didn't kind of know how Danny Williams was playing. He's been around for quite a while. He was in Reading's team for ages before he went to Huddersfield Town, and of course he was playing in the Bundesliga as well. So that's quite an accusation to make, that the coach doesn't know the players at his disposal.
Dan Garber and Jurgen Klinsmann clashed on this subject regularly, didn't they? And is it just possible that Bruce Arena has gone in a different direction, even subconsciously?
Subconsciously.
Wow. Well, I mean,
we're going to reach a new low if we're going to try to analyze the subconscious of Bruce Arena. we've been critical of Bruce Arena. We were critical of Bruce Arena a few weeks ago when he went on television and just had an attitude of nothing has happened here and a little bit of arrogance and really add a touch to what the realities and the expectation of U.S. soccer fans are. Having said all that, in this case, there is nothing to point the finger at Bruce Arena. It's Danny Williams having an issue with not being picked, and there's a natural reaction there. The only thing that I would say for Danny Williams is the fact that whenever Bruce Arena was asked about the U.S. national team, when Jurgen Klinsmann was coaching the team, there were statements made by Bruce Arena where he talked about the German-American players being an issue. And if that's the case, well, that's where Danny Williams fits in. And maybe he's holding on to that and saying there's an agenda against me because, well, I'm a German-American player. We're reaching here. We're going for the subconscious. And if that's the case, I don't think we can analyze that. What we can analyze is that if you're Bruce Arena, you're going to pick the best players available. If you're not doing that, you're not doing your job.
Player doesn't get picked, player has a whinge and a moan. It's an old story, isn't it?
It's an old story.
Is there anything more to it, though?
Well, yes, there is. Danny Williams doesn't get picked, goes to the November friendlies, has a chat with other players who won't get picked, and forms an opinion off of that. I mean, it's bordering on ridiculous here from Danny Williams. And in defense of Bruce Arena here, he inherited a team that lost their opening 2 games, was it? And then showed faith with those players who got the US back into the qualifying picture. There's no more to it than that. And to try to paint it as something else, I'm sorry here, Danny Williams is barking up what tree I don't know right now.
Danny Williams also said that he didn't feel trusted by any of the coaches when he played. I mean, boo-hoo. and then he goes on to say, well, actually, I didn't play that well. Well, guess what? Who's going to trust you if you don't play well? And who's going to pick you when you get a chance and don't play well? I mean, you ever heard anything so daft in all your life?
Yeah, the only way that you get that trust is that
Playing well.
When you're called in, you carry yourself a certain manner with the national team, and when you're given the opportunity on the field, you perform in the way that you're expected to perform. That's the only way you're going to get the trust. It's not going to be divine intervention. It's not somebody's going to touch Bruce Arena and say, hey, I deserve a chance. No, it has to be something that you earn on the field.